So there are several ways of solving a quadratic equation. The easiest is always to factorise it. The other options you've got are completing the square, the quadratic formula, and then you've also got graphically and trial improvement as well. We're going to have a look here at using the quadratic formula. It's usually fairly obvious to know when to use it in an exam situation, because usually the question will ask you to solve it to a given number of decimal places. Now, the first thing to do is always try and see if it factorises. This one won't factorise, so at this point here I am going to go with the quadratic formula. You could also complete the square to solve this one, but we're going to go with the formula. The formula is always given to you in the front of the book, and this is this thing over here, so don't worry about remembering it. First thing we need to do is decide what A, B and C are going to be. So I'm going to make a note of those and write them down. A, B and C. So A is always the coefficient of x squared, the number in front of x squared here, which must be 1. B must be the coefficient of x, number in front of x, which is 5. And then C is this term on the end here, 2. So all I've got to do now is stick those numbers into the formula and out comes the answer. So we've got x equals minus b, b is 5, plus or minus the square root of all this lot. So we've got 5 squared minus 4 times a, which was 1, times c, which was 2. And that is all over 2 lots of a, and a was 1. So now we're just going to tidy it up a little bit. So we've got x equals 1 minus 5 again, plus or minus the square root of this whole thing here. Well, 5 squared is 25, so it's 25 minus, and I should really put this bit in brackets here to tell me to do this bit separately. 4 times 1 is 4, times 2 is 8. So it's 25 take away 8 in here, which I am going to write out fully. Square root of 25 take away 8. And on the bottom 2 times 1 is 2. So we're getting that. Minus 5. 25 take away 8 is 17. And at the end I'd have got to divide all of this by 2. So there's going to be 2 answers to this. One will be the negative solution, the other will be the positive one. So one answer will be at minus 5 plus the square root of 17 over 2, and the other answer will be x equals minus 5 minus the square root of 17 over 2. And if it asks for the question to be answered to a given number of decimal places, well, we just need to stick both of those into the calculator. If we do that, remember you need to work out the top line first and then divide it by 2 in this situation. So one answer, this gives me minus 4.56, and this other answer up here is x equals minus 0.438. Let's have a look at another example just to make sure we know what we're doing. And we're going to go with the formula again here, so we need to work out the values of a, b and c before we do anything else. So a is going to be my coefficient of x squared, the number in front of it, which is 3. B is the term in front of x, which here is minus 6. Make sure you take the negative as well. And the term on the end here is minus 5. So let's stick all of that in the formula. So I've got x equals minus, and then I've got to put b in, so it's minus 6. And I've got plus or minus the square root of what's to come next. So b squared is minus 6 squared, and it's minus 4 times a, which is 3, times c, which is minus 5. And I am going to put the second bit in brackets just to remind me that I need to do that bit separately. That whole thing is over 2 lots of a, and a is 3. Now it's the negatives that makes this question hard, so we need to be careful. So the next line, we've got minus 6 on the front. Well, that's going to turn that into positive 6. and then we've got plus or minus, well, minus 6 squared, and any number squared is always positive, so that'd be 36. Then I'm putting in that minus, and then I'm going to work out this next bit. 4 times 3 is 12, times by minus 5 is minus 60. So I've got to put in another minus there to represent that bit, minus 60. 2 times 3 on the bottom is 6. So now we can put together these bits under the square root. 36 minus minus 60 is the same as adding together 36 and 60. So that's what we need to do. That gives us 96. So that's still all over 6. So there's going to be 2 answers to come out of this. One will be the positive version, one will be the negative version. So let's have the positive one first. So it'll be 6 plus the square root of 96, all divided by 6. And the other solution will be 6 minus the square root of 96, all divided by 6. So again, this question is likely to have signalled itself by asking you to work out the answer to a given number of decimal places. So we'll put those into our calculator. To 2 decimal places this would be 2.63, and let's say this was asked for to 3 decimal places. Not that it would ever be different in the same question, but this would be minus 0.63.